In today's video, we're doing something quite unique and we're heading to McLean's Island to do a night XC hosted by Muddy Gumboots Events. So this is about a 35-40 minute full gas XC, mass start in the dark with lights. It's been about 5 years since I last made it out to one of these. Usually I'm overseas this time of year, but I'm here, so managed to find the time to make it happen. So yeah, tune in. I'm going to commentate and kind of talk about what's happening in my mind as it happens. So tune in and thank you for watching. Okay, here we go. We've got a bit of a janky start line. People all over the place. I managed to get a decent start actually, but hold myself back a little bit because I don't want to explode the legs. Although they did make a bet that if I got the whole shot, I would have got $20. So I was kind of game for that, but by this point I knew it wasn't going to happen.
I got no chance,
I got boxed in, so just decided to hold my position, save the legs a little bit, although I think it was kind of barely hanging on. But yeah, don't have too bad of a position here, sitting quite comfortably, and we're coming up to where that whole shot bet was going to finish. So clearly didn't get the whole shot, maybe about 8th wheel. Now it's just full gas. We're all putting down as much power as we can. I'm just doing my best to find some wheel I can jump onto. That guy just gapped me out. So now I'm thinking of launching on to this guy's wheel. Yeah, somewhat managed to hold it here. Although he puts in another dig and he's gone, and then I can't hang on to this guy's wheel either. So now I'm kind of taking in the wind, making it a little bit harder for myself. There's Max to the side battling as well in the wind. But coming up we've got the stop bank and we're going to hit some corners, so it's going to get a little bit technical and things are going to slow down. So I'm not too bothered, just kind of hold that gap and make up some time further ahead. Close that gap. So yeah, that was a good play, not fully deleting myself just there. Back onto this person's wheel, and I believe what I was thinking here is just hang on to this guy's wheel. The speed has slowed down a lot and we're hitting some corners. That is where my skills lie, so I'm able to save a bit of energy. But I do see there is a gap forming up ahead, so now I'm wishing that I pushed a little deeper and made it further up in that bunch so I could step with the faster guys. The guy just went down there, so I take an inside line to avoid him. Although that meant I lost all my speed. The guy he puts in a dig, and now I'm having to push hard to work my way back up. Definitely burning some matches at this point. We had a few pump bumps there, so instead of pedaling, I was pumping those bumps to gain some speed, focusing on getting these corners good, getting onto this guy's wheel because up here I know it opens up. Hit this corner good, and then I do my best to get as close to this guy's wheel as I can and shelter out of that wind, make my life as easy as possible. And then I'm just telling myself to hang on, and I'm hoping that this guy can close the gap up ahead. Missed Joe's wheel there, so I'm just going to settle in, kind of play the game a little bit, be patient. I know I don't have the best legs, I don't have the power to keep up with these guys, so just doing my best to play a smart game. We've managed to catch back up to that bunch, so I'm just going to hang in. We'll come back together, and again I'm just telling myself to hang on to that guy's wheel, make sure that I don't really gap form. Although I have kind of let a gap form, but I do know that I've got the skills to to catch up in these corners up ahead, so just playing it smart and doing my best to conserve as much energy as I can when I can. We've got a gap forming here, but I decide to kind of hang back because I'm unsure if I've got the legs to catch up to the guys ahead. Max jumps ahead and I should have jumped onto his wheel immediately, but I was scared that someone was on his wheel because I could hear him talking to someone. I decided to jump out after checking that the coast was clear, and now I'm on the chase, which means I'm putting in a big dig here. I've got some corners, so I'm doing my best to hit them hard, hold my speed and keep that momentum flowing. And up here I've got a stop bank. I'm in a little climb, so I'm going to put in a good dig here, make up a few meters, and then also up ahead we've got some tight corners coming up where I know I can pull in some time, so I'm going to save the legs a little bit here and then hit these corners good and pull in that gap, which I managed to do a bit here. Keep working away at that gap, and now we're back on Max's wheel. This is definitely where the mountain bike is quicker. The guys on the CX bikes definitely find the corners a bit more difficult. It's also a lot more stop-starty, so being behind me in the corners makes it a little bit harder on me, just kind of having to put in digs after some of the corners. Yeah, it opens up again, so I'm just doing my best to make sure I'm as close to that wheel as I can. I'm doing my best to shelter. I'm just going to hang on. Again, just making sure I stick onto that wheel. And then coming up, I know it opens out again, so I'm going to make sure I keep that gap close to Max. I can do all the work in the wind and hope that he can close the gap up to the bunch ahead. Put in quite a bit of power here, definitely pushing me to my limit. We managed to catch back up to that bunch. Things come together as we get a tight corner. A few guys touch wheels and get a bit sketchy. Managed to keep in there clear. We're back on it. A bit of a gap is formed. Max is letting get away. Gap isn't too huge, so not a massive concern. I don't know if I would have been able to hold that myself, so can't be too hard on him there. But yeah, again, just making sure I hug that wheel, keep out of the wind, and make my life as easy as possible to save the legs. These corners here are super dusty and super loose. Guys on the CX bikes are going to find these corners super hard, so I actually let a gap form between me and Max on some of the tighter corners, just because he has to slow down a little bit more, whereas I can hold a bit more momentum on the mountain bike. If I was to stay super close to Max, I'd end up slowing down a little bit and have to put in a bit more power out of the corners to keep up. So yeah, having the advantage in the corners on the mountain bike, I decided to just back off, let some of the tighter corners there. So that is lap 1 of 2 complete. In the tunnel, and back into it. Bit of a wheel kick out there. Okay, we've got these pump bumps again, so made sure to pump there, save my legs, and then latch on as close as I can to Max's wheel as we come out into the open. Legs aren't feeling too bad at this point. I was managing to shelter behind Max in those corners and kind of take things nice and easy and hold the momentum. So yeah, just sitting behind Max, making sure that wind doesn't hit me, and doing my best to play a smart game, making him do all the work as we catch up to the bunch ahead of us. I see the bunch head slow down a little bit, so I decided to put in an attack to catch back up. End up being quite a bit faster than them, so I decided to just hold my speed and make my way into the depth of their bunch. And yeah, latching onto the wheel again. Things are definitely feeling a lot quicker in this bunch, so I'm just doing my best to kind of play the smart game, hold my momentum and save my energy. The guy ahead puts in a big dig, so we're off. I'm putting down all the power I can. I was a bit late to snatch on to the guy ahead of me's wheel, so playing the catch-up game, but making sure I hit the corners good and take as much speed as I can. Managed to get back on that wheel and get back into safety. They put in yet another attack and we fly over that thing. We've got some tight corners coming up. I know that's where I had my advantage, so I kind of let them get a little bit ahead into these corners, save the legs, and yeah, within no time I'm back on that wheel. Most of these guys here are on CX bikes, so quite slow on the corners, which actually makes it difficult for me. It makes it a lot more punchy, and that is my weakness. So we kind of hit the corners slow and then we explode out of them, so they end up just pulling my legs apart. I managed to hang on and make them do, and then coming back up into that open section, I'm doing my best to latch onto the wheel ahead of me, and we're off. They put in an attack, but then all of a sudden they back off. So starting to play some tactics here. I kind of don't know what's happening because I don't do this often. I kind of lose my spot there in the bunch, so I'm not too sure what to do. I get caught up on the inside, have to take an awful inside line. I hope I didn't cut off the person behind me, but I lost all my speed, which meant I'm having to put in a big dig to make sure I keep up with the guys and don't lose their wheel. So I'm working super hard at the moment. Small gap starts to form and my legs are getting cooked. Just get back onto the wheel. They do slow up a little bit. And then Jacob puts in a big attack, and they're off. I kind of didn't manage to catch onto a wheel. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or I think there's a good chance I was just too cooked. I think I was just too cooked, because now I let all these guys go. Done. Back with a bunch again. I do know things are going to slow up ahead, so I don't dig myself a massive hole. Yeah, played that one smart, because I'm back onto the wheel again without having to completely blow myself up. Now I'm just doing my best to take it easy and let my legs come back to life. Up ahead is Anton taking some photos. That's all the flashes. He got some absolutely sick shots out there. Max sped up just as we went past him to make sure Anton thought he was going quick, no doubt. Back into the super dusty loose section. Again, I'm just letting there be a gap between me and Max, just because I know I'm going to be able to hold my speed better than him, because I'm on a mountain bike. Yeah, conserve some energy there. We managed to catch up to the bunch ahead of us too, so fair play to Max on that one, pulling them back in. I know coming up in a few minutes we're going to have an all-out effort to the finish, so I'm just now starting to do my best to hang on to Max's wheel, shelter out of that wind as he takes a big sneaky inside line. Yeah, I want to save my legs as much as I can, so I'm doing my best to hit the corners good. We've got a man down here. Alex took a hit. Back on the bike quick though, but it's not where you want to come off. Max takes another sneaky inside line and he puts down the hammer here. I'm doing my best to keep up. That was definitely like a 15-second max effort. And now we are off. I'm doing my best to get tucked in, get back onto Max's wheel. Make my life as easy as it can be. We almost managed to catch on to that bunch ahead of us, but not quite. Now into like the final 30 seconds. This is an all-out effort to the finish. I'm just doing my best to hang on to Max's wheel. I don't have much left though, I'm cooked at this point. And he starts to pull a gap. I'm looking behind there to see who else is there. There's no way I could hold that. And then Alex comes past me, and I'm checking behind me again to see if anyone's there. No one's there, so I'm just going to hold a steady power to the finish, and yeah, done. So that was 35 minutes of full noise. What an event. 5 years since the last one, stoked to make it back to this. And that was a nice tempo effort. Heart barely got above 160. Whoa, yeah, that was full gas. That was definitely hard on the legs. Did my best to keep up. My weakness is definitely that fast, intense punchiness. The longer things are, the better I end up going. And that was intense. So not my best work, but I did my best out there. Thank you for tuning in, and heading overseas in a couple of days, so on to some more missions. Catch you next time.